My beloved child, there is a story I have been wanting to tell you for a very long time. It is not a story you will find in any history book. It is not a tale that will be recited from grand stages or written in golden letters on ancient walls. It is not a legend that bards will sing about in crowded halls. No, this story is quieter than all of those. It is smaller in a way, and yet it is larger than any story ever told. This is the story of a father who waited. A father who stood at the edge of his property every single evening, long after the sun had dipped below the horizon. A father who kept the porch light burning, not because he forgot to turn it off, but because he refused to believe that the one he loved would never come back. A father who watched the road with eyes that had grown tired from years of staring into the distance, yet never once lost their hope. That father is me. And that road you have been walking, the long one, the winding one, the one that has taken you through deserts of loneliness and forests of regret, that road has always led back to me. You just stopped believing it still existed. You left a long time ago. Not all at once. Not with a dramatic exit that anyone noticed. It happened slowly, like the tide pulling away from the shore, inch by inch, until one day you looked back and realized you could no longer see the house you had grown up in. You could no longer hear my voice calling your name. You could no longer feel the warmth of the fire that once burned in the hearth of your heart. And you told yourself, this is fine, this is what I wanted, this is freedom. But it was not freedom, child. It was wandering. You wandered through relationships that promised everything and delivered nothing. You wandered through jobs that consumed your days and left your soul empty. You wandered through cities full of people, yet felt more alone than you had ever felt in the silence of your own room. You wandered through years that blurred together into one long gray twilight, where every morning looked the same and every evening felt like a small death. And all the while, I watched. I watched you from the doorway. I watched you from the edge of the road. I watched you from the top of the hill, where I had stationed myself like a watchman who refused to abandon his post. I saw every stumble. I saw every tear. I saw every moment when you almost turned back, and then, at the last second, chose to keep walking away. I never stopped watching. I never stopped waiting, because that is what a father does. You have asked me, in your quieter moments, whether I ever felt angry with you for leaving. Let me answer that plainly, because this is a question that has haunted you longer than you have admitted. I have never felt anger toward you, not once, not for a single moment. Not when you chose the wrong path, not when you stayed with people who hurt you, not when you made decisions that broke your own heart, not even when you forgot my name and pretended I did not exist. I have only ever felt one thing toward you, love. And love, when it is real, does not keep a record of wrongs. Love does not tally up the offenses and wait for the perfect moment to present its bill. Love does not stand at the door with a list of conditions. Return only if you have cleaned yourself up. Return only if you are worthy. Return only if you have fixed everything you broke. That is not how I love you. I love you the way a father loves the child who ran away. Not because he wanted to hurt anyone, but because he was looking for something he could not name. I love you the way the rain loves the dry ground, not because the ground deserves it, but because the ground needs it. I love you the way the sun loves the earth, relentlessly, unconditionally, without ever once asking whether it is welcome. So no, I have never been angry with you. I have only ever been waiting. And while I was waiting, I did not sit idly. While you were gone, I prepared a place for you. Not a palace of gold and marble, because that would not mean anything to you. You have seen enough palaces that felt like prisons. I prepared a home, a real home, a place where the walls are made of warmth, and the floors are worn from years of footsteps, because in that home, people actually live. They don't just exist, they live. I prepared a room for you, the same room you had when you were a child, the one with the window that faced the garden, the one where you used to sit and dream about who you would become. I dusted it off, I opened the curtains, I made sure the light would fall on the bed exactly the way it used to, so that when you finally came back, you would recognize it. You would know, without a doubt, that this was still your place. I prepared a meal for you, the same meal you loved when you were still under my roof. Not because I thought you would be hungry, but because I wanted you to taste something familiar again, something that would remind you of who you were before the world convinced you to become someone else. And then, every single day, every single morning, every single afternoon, every single night, I walked to the edge of the property and I looked down the road. I looked for you. I never stopped looking for you. There were days when the road was empty. There were days when the horizon was blurred by dust and heat, and I could not see more than a few feet ahead. There were days when the wind carried the smell of rain, and I thought, maybe today is the day they come back. And then the rain would pass, and the road would still be empty, and I would walk back inside, not disappointed, child. No, not disappointed. Just quietly patient, just a little more certain that the waiting would not be in vain, because I knew you would come back. I knew it the same way a farmer knows the harvest will come, not because they have seen it yet, but because they have planted the seed and they understand the seasons. I knew it the same way a mother knows her child will eventually find their way back home, not because she has proof, but because she knows love is stronger than distance. I knew it because I had already seen the end of your story, and it ends with you walking through the door. I just did not know when, and I did not need to know when, because waiting, for me, was never about counting the days. It was about being ready to throw my arms open the moment you appeared, ready to run toward you before you had even taken your first step back, ready to celebrate your return before you had even asked for forgiveness. You have always been terrible at asking for forgiveness, child. You have always thought you needed to earn it, to prove yourself worthy of it, to make up for everything you did wrong before you could be allowed to come back. But that is not how forgiveness works. Forgiveness is a gift, and gifts are not earned. They are simply given. Let me tell you the moment you finally decided to come back, because I was there, and I remember it more clearly than you do. You had hit rock bottom. That is not a metaphor. That is the actual truth of what happened. You had lost almost everything, or at least everything you thought mattered. The friends you had surrounded yourself with had drifted away, one by one. The money you had chased so desperately had either run out or proven hollow. The success you had craved had turned out to be nothing more than a shiny cage, and the person you had become, you barely recognized them in the mirror anymore. And in that moment of absolute emptiness, when there was nothing left to distract you from your own soul, you remembered me. It was not a dramatic revelation. It was not a voice from heaven or a flash of lightning. It was something much simpler, much quieter. You remembered the porch light. You remembered that there had always been a light on for you, even when you did not deserve it, even when you had done nothing to earn it, even when you had spent years pretending it did not exist, and you started walking. At first, it was just a step, a single hesitant step in the direction of home. You were not even sure you were going the right way. Your memory of the road had faded. The landmarks had shifted. Everything looked different from the way you remembered it, but you kept walking anyway, because there was nowhere else to go. And I saw you. I saw you from the edge of the property, that same spot where I had stood every single day for years. I saw your silhouette on the horizon before you could even see me. I recognized your walk, the way you dragged your feet when you were tired, the way your shoulders slumped just a little when you were carrying too much. I recognized you instantly, child. And I did not wait for you to get closer. I did not wait for you to prove that you were truly sorry. I did not wait for you to apologize, or to explain, or to offer some reason why I should let you back in. I ran. I gathered up the hem of my robe and I ran, faster than I had ever run before, because I could not stand to be apart from you for one more second than was absolutely necessary. I ran down the hill, past the fence, through the tall grass that scratched at my legs, and I did not stop running until I reached you. And then I threw my arms around you. Before you could say a word, I held you the way a father holds a child they thought they had lost forever, held you like you were the most precious thing in the universe, held you like you had never left at all. And that is when you finally broke. You collapsed against me, not because you were weak, but because the weight you had been carrying for so many years had finally found a place to rest. You cried into my shoulder, not the quiet, controlled tears you had learned to cry in public, but the real ones, the messy ones, the ones that came from the deepest part of you, the part you had sealed off years ago and told yourself would never be opened again. I held you through all of it. I did not let go. And when the crying finally stopped, when your breathing slowed and your body stopped shaking, I pulled back just enough to look at your face, and I said the only thing that mattered. Welcome home, my child. I saw you from the edge of the property, that same spot where I had stood every single day for years. I saw your silhouette on the horizon before you could even see me. I recognized your walk, the way you dragged your feet when you were tired, the way your shoulders slumped just a little when you were carrying too much. I recognized you instantly, child, and I did not wait for you to get closer. I did not wait for you to prove that you were truly sorry. I did not wait for you to apologize or to explain or to offer some reason why I should let you back in. I ran. I gathered up the hem of my robe and I ran, faster than I had ever run before, because I could not stand to be apart from you for one more second than was absolutely necessary. I ran down the hill, past the fence, through the tall grass that scratched at my legs, and I did not stop running until I reached you. And then I threw my arms around you. Before you could say a word, I held you the way a father holds a child they thought they had lost forever. Held you like you were the most precious thing in the universe. Held you like you had never left at all. And that is when you finally broke. You collapsed against me, not because you were weak, but because the weight you had been carrying for so many years had finally found a place to rest. You cried into my shoulder, not the quiet, controlled tears you had learned to cry in public, but the real ones, the messy ones, the ones that came from the deepest part of you, the part you had sealed off years ago and told yourself would never be opened again. I held you through all of it. I did not let go. And when the crying finally stopped, when your breathing slowed and your body stopped shaking, I pulled back just enough to look at your face, and I said the only thing that mattered. Welcome home, my child. That is the story of the father who waited. But it is not just my story, child. It is yours too. Because the waiting did not end the moment you came back. The waiting continues because I am still waiting for you to fully believe that you are loved. I am still waiting for you to stop apologizing for things I have already forgiven. I am still waiting for you to look at yourself the way I look at you. Not through the lens of your failures, but through the lens of my love. You have come back home, child, but you are still acting like a guest. You are still knocking on the door as if you need permission to enter. You are still waiting for me to ask you to sit down, to stay, to make yourself comfortable, as if you have not already been given a permanent place at my table. You are still calculating whether you have done enough to earn my love, when I have already given it to you freely, completely, without condition and without ever asking for anything in return. So let me say this to you now, and I want you to hear it as clearly as you have ever heard anything. You are not a guest in my house. You are my child. And a child does not need to earn their place. I know there is still a part of you that does not fully believe this. A part that still carries the old shame, the old fear that one day I will change my mind, that one day I will look at you and say, actually, you have gone too far this time. Actually, you are no longer welcome. Actually, I have run out of patience. Let me silence that fear right now. I have no such day. There is no threshold you can cross that would make me stop loving you. No sin you can commit that would make me withdraw my mercy. No distance you can travel that would make me forget your face. No amount of time that could ever make me stop waiting. I am the Father who waits. And I will wait for you. In every prayer, in every quiet moment, in every tear you cry alone, I will wait. Not because I am patient, not because I am kind, not because I am merciful, though I am all of those things. I will wait because that is what a father does. A father never gives up on their child. And you are my child, now and always, forever and ever. Amen.